Hello, Sean. Here's Avi again doing another Avi Reads. I want to welcome you, my grandson, and your cousins, and your friends, and anyone else who may be listening in, including my sisters and brothers, and your parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles. So here we are again, back at Genesis chapter 3 and the book of the Hobbit. So here we go. Remember that Adam and Eve ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and they shouldn't have. So then God came walking to them in the garden. Then the Lord God called to the man and said to him, "Where are you?" And Adam said, "I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I was embarrassed. So I hid myself." And God said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree which I commanded you not to eat?" Now watch what he tells God. This is very interesting. The man said, the woman that you gave me, she gave me from the tree and I ate." Then the Lord God said to the woman, "What is this that you have done?" And she too said, The serpent deceived me and I ate." So they're blaming somebody else, aren't they? Is that the right thing to do? Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, cursed are you more than all animals, and more than every beast of the field. And on your belly you will go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life." Remember what a serpent is. It's a snake, isn't it? Don't snakes slither on the ground and eat from the dust all the time? They sure do. It goes back to here. And God said, "I will put trouble between you and the woman, between your children and her child. And the child of the woman shall hurt you on the head." Now we got to wonder, what child will that be? Is this some child coming soon, or somebody who shows up later on in the Bible? Ask your mother and dad about that. It says, he shall hurt you on the head, but you shall only hit him on the heel. To the woman he said, "I will greatly multiply your pain in childbirth." It's not going to be easy to give birth to children anymore. "In pain you shall bring forth children, yet your desire will always be for your husband, and he shall rule over you." Then to Adam he said, "Because you have listened to the voice of your wife," and he didn't listen to God, did he? "And have eaten from the tree which I commanded you not to. And I said, you shall not eat from that, didn't I? Cursed is the ground because of you. And toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life." You can't just go picking fruits off trees anymore. You got to work hard and get plants in the ground to give you food to eat. "Shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread." It's going to be hard work till you return to the ground, because from the ground you were taken. For you are dust, and to dust you shall return. That happens to all of us. Now the man called his wife Eve, or Chava in Hebrew, because she's the mother of all the living human beings on this earth. She was the mother of us all. And the Lord God made garments of skin for Adam and his wife to cover them in their nakedness, and he clothed them. Then the Lord God said, "Behold, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. And now he might stretch out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever." In his sin, you don't want that. Therefore the Lord God sent him out of the Garden of Eden to cultivate the ground from which he was taken. So he drove the man out. And at the east of the Garden of Eden he stationed the cherubim, big, large, strong, scary angels. And a flaming sword was turned every direction to guard the way to the tree of life, so Adam and Eve don't come back and eat from it and live forever in their sin. And there'll be no way out for them to gain fellowship back with God. That was a loving thing that God did. So that's the end of Genesis chapter 3. We'll pick up Genesis chapter 4 next time. We're about ready to go to the Hobbit, so let me get something here to drink real quick. Now, as I'm about ready to read the Hobbit, I want to tell you that today, on June 19th, One of the actors who played the Hobbit, Ian Holmes, passed away. It's very sad, but he had a long, good life, had made some very good movies, and he played Bilbo Baggins in the movies. I liked watching him. So here we have all the dwarves now have arrived at Bilbo's door, and he's all flustered, and because he has what at his door? He has a throng, doesn't he? Well, anyway, they say, "At your service," said Bifur, Beaufort, and Bombor, standing in a row. Then they hung up 2 yellow hoods and a pale green wood. They also hung up a sky blue one with a long silver tassel. The last one belonged to Thorin, an enormously important dwarf. In fact, no other than the great Thorin Oakenshield himself, who was not at all pleased at falling flat on Bilbo's mat with Beaufort, and Bombor on top of him. Especially Bombor, who was immensely fat and heavy. Ouch, that hurt. Thorin indeed was very haughty and said nothing about service. But poor Mr. Baggins said he was so sorry so many times that at last Thorin grunted, paid no mention of it, and stopped frowning. "Now we are all here," said Gandalf, looking at the row of 13 hoods, the best detachable party hoods around, and his own hat hanging on the pegs in Bilbo's hall. "Quite a merry gathering," he said. "I hope there is something left for the latecomers to eat and drink." "What's that? Tea? No, thank you. A little red wine, I think, for me," said Gandalf. "And for me," said Thorin. "And raspberry jam and apple tart," said Bifur. "And mince pies and cheese," says Beaufort. "And pork pie and salad," said Bombor. Bombor ate salad? Hard to believe. "And more cakes and ale and coffee, if you don't mind," called the other dwarves through the door. "Put on a few eggs, there's a good fellow." Gandalf called after him as the hobbits stomped off to the pantries. "And just bring out the cold chicken and pickles." Now that sounds pretty good. "Seems to know as much about the inside of my larder or pantry as I do," thought Mr. Baggins, who was feeling positively flummoxed. Have you ever been flummoxed before? Well, Bilbo was. He was beginning to wonder whether the most wretched adventure had not come right into his house, his very quiet house. By the time he got all the bottles and dishes and knives and forks and glasses and plates and spoons and things piled up on the big trays, he was getting very hot and red in the face and annoyed. Surprised there. "Confusticate and be bothered, these dwarves," he said aloud. Confusticate. That's another good word to learn. "Why don't they come and lend a hand?" Lo and behold, there stood Balin and Dwalin at the door of the kitchen, and Feely and Keely behind them. And before they could say knife, he had whisked off the trays and a couple of small tables into the parlor and set out everything afresh. Now we're going to leave it right there because things are about ready to get very interesting. They're about ready to sit down to dinner and discuss this adventure coming up. And I don't think Mr. Bilbo Baggins is going to be very happy about this. What do you think? Well, we'll have to wait to find out next time. In the meantime, pay attention to what your parents tell you and teach you. Love them, love your brothers and sisters. Sometimes I know that's hard. And take good care of your pets. I love you all, and I can't wait to see you next time. This is Avi signing off.